Hi everyone, this is Mr. V again. Are you ready for a story time? This story is an ancient Chinese proverb. It talks about perseverance. It talks about being honest. It's talking about being true to yourself, not giving up. And I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to tell you the story and then we'll go through the pictures. And this story takes place in ancient China. There was this kingdom. And the king lived in this beautiful palace. And in the palace, he had the most beautiful gardens around. And he was getting old. So he had to find a way to find someone to take over for his kingdom. Back in town, where all the villages were, they were okay. Some rich, some poor. But everyone was happy. Especially Ping. Ping was a little boy who had a green thumb. Whatever he planted in the ground would grow into these beautiful flowers. And they would grow and they would grow. And people would come around and look at his garden. It made Ping feel good. Well, the emperor decided, he goes, you know what? I need to find someone who can live in my palace, take care of my gardens. But how shall I do that? He thought for a while. I have a great idea. So he sent all his men out into the villages. And in the villages, he said, find me all the children. I'm going to bring the children to my palace. And when I bring the children to my palace, I'm going to give them some seeds. I'm going to give them some seeds so that they can plant in their gardens. And I shall find the person who will come take my place and live in the palace and be the new emperor. For when I am gone, I need someone I can trust. So his villagers, all his royal people went out. The villagers came from all around bringing their children. All the children. And Ping was feeling really good because he knows he had a green thumb. So the king lined up the children one by one. And as each one came by, he would drop some seeds into their hands and say, good luck, as he passed out the seeds to all the children. Ping came to his chance, and Ping held out his hands, and the emperor dropped the seeds into his hands, and Ping closed his hands around him and said, oh, I will take care of these seeds. And he walked back. So soon, all the children went back to their houses. And they started planting their plants and their seeds. So Ping took his seeds and he found a pretty pot. And he said, I'm going to plant them in here. He put some dirt in, made a layer of dirt. Then he picked his seeds up, put his seeds in the pot, and put more dirt on top. And he waited, and he put that pot in a very special place so that it would grow into a plant. Well, a few weeks had gone by, and Ping was waiting for his flower to just grow a little bit. And he looked in his pot, and where's my flower? So he said, maybe it needs more time. And he added a little water to it. He said, maybe it likes this place over here where it's not too hot and not too cold. So another month went by. A third month went by. And Ping every day would check on his flower, waiting for something to grow. But nothing happened. As the children in school were talking about their flowers and saying, oh, mine grew this much, mine grew this much, mine grew this much. And they would ask Ping, and Ping wouldn't say anything. He goes, mine will come when it's time, he said. And he went back home. Well, it came near springtime now. And Ping knew in about 2 months, the emperor was going to call them all back to bring their flowers. And his still hadn't grown. So he dug in there, he got his seeds out. And he said, maybe they need a bigger pot. So he got a bigger pot. He mixed up the soil, and he put his seeds in there, and he put the soil on and said, oh, they'll be happier in this pot. I think they're going to grow big. So he was all excited. Well, the weeks went by. And through the winter, through every time, through the whole seasons, nothing happened. And Ping was starting to get worried. Maybe I'm not that good anymore. Maybe I don't have a green thumb. And then the day came. The emperor said, children, 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 come, bring your flowers. Ping went to his father and said, Father, I didn't grow anything. All I have is an empty pot. Well, his father looked down on him, said, Son, did you do your best? Ping nodded. Did you treat it with all your heart and take care of it? Ping nodded. Well, son, you've done your best. And that's all I can ask. That's all anybody can ask. Just do your best. So Ping lined up with the emperor, and he started walking with his empty pot. And all the children came around. And the children were carrying these pots with these beautiful flowers that they were going to take to the emperor. They were just walking around with their beautiful flowers. And they walked by Ping, and they kind of laughed at Ping and said, Ping, you're going to take the empty pot to see the emperor? And Ping kind of nodded. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So all the children lined up, with all of them having beautiful flowers. Ping stood at the very back. He didn't want to be seen by the emperor at all. So the emperor saw all these children with these flowers in these beautiful pots. And he'd walk around and he'd inspect the flowers. But he never really did smile. He just kind of checked the flowers and smiled and smiled and smiled. And all the children were waiting to see if it was them who was going to be picked by the emperor. The emperor just walked by, shaking his head at everyone. Finally, he saw, step over here, boy. What is your name? they call me Ping. And the emperor said, you brought me an empty pot. And Ping started to cry. Yes, Emperor, I brought you an empty pot. I tried. I put them in a little pot and they wouldn't grow. And then I put them in a nice pot and I took care of them and I buried them and nothing would grow. I'm sorry, Emperor. At that moment in time, the biggest smile came across the emperor. He just grinned and was all happy. And Ping didn't know why. And the emperor said, son, you are going to come live in my kingdom. You are going to take care of my gardens. And you are going to have my kingdom when I do pass on. And Ping kind of, but, Emperor said, no buts. These seeds that I gave you, well, all those seeds, all those children out there, they weren't telling the truth. And the children just kind of stood back. What's going on? Those seeds that I had given you, I had boiled them in a pot so they wouldn't come to life. These would never, ever grow into these flowers, ever. I wanted to find someone that was truthful, someone that cared, someone who would always tell the truth. And I have found you. Ping, you and your family shall come live in the castle, and you shall be the new emperor when I pass on. And Ping just kind of stood there. His father was in the background, smiling and knowing that he had done the right thing with his son. And that's the story of the empty pot. And the moral of that story is, do your best at all times. Don't try to trick your way into getting something that really shouldn't be there. And as you know, it happened to Ping. And I'm going to show you the pictures of Ping. And we'll go through the story. If I can sit here on the floor. So, here is the empty pot. Here is Ping, and let me figure out how to do it right. Here's Ping in his village. Here's the emperor and his beautiful flowers in his kingdom. Oh, no. More pictures of the emperor and his kingdom and all his beautiful flowers. And this is when the king declared that he's going to send all the children to come get some seeds. So all the children came. They lined up to get their seeds. Ping was the very last one to get his seed. And then here, he planted it in the most beautiful place he could find. And he waited, and he waited, and he waited. He decided, I'm going to try a bigger pot and make it better. And through the winter and into the spring, Ping took care of that pot. He wanted the flower to grow. Then the time came for them to bring all their pots. And they laughed at Ping, because Ping had an empty pot. And everyone else had these beautiful flowers. This is when he talked to his father. And his father told him, "You did your best, son. Go." So Ping walked to the palace with his empty pot. And here's the king inspecting all the children, walking around and checking and then frowning and wondering, something's not right here. And there was Ping, all by himself with his empty pot. And that's when the king, emperor, said, "Ping, you will come live in the palace. You did the right thing. I can trust you to be the new emperor." And this is where Ping and his family moved into the emperor's palace. And that's the story of the empty pot. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be doing more readings. And thank you for listening, and stay safe. Listen to your parents. And I hope you enjoyed the story, The Empty Pot, a Chinese folk tale. Thank you. Good night, guys.